Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Hopeful Chewbacca back at the Church of Chewbacca, and today we're going to go over 3 more subscribers, team reviews, give them some team advice on how to improve their teams. Today we have Frosty, Hockeyonsale, and GHAM74. We're going to go over all 3 of these teams. How this works is I'm going to do a quick overview of their team in full screen, and then we're going to put their original team on the right side, my team advice on the left side, kind of compare them, and I'll go over about why I upgraded certain positions and my ideas behind why I picked those cards compared to others, as well as how we add an extra, maybe some player synergy, some team synergies. Let's get into it. We're going to go over Frosty's teams first. On his first line, he has Guy Lafleur, Mike Fisher, and Jack Hughes. The Mike Fisher and Jack Hughes are master set players. Then he has 89 overall, 94 flashback Larry Murphy. Silver icon Brad Park, 90 overall. Second liners are Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky, and Tim Stützle. That is the 90 overall NHL 2030 Tim Stützle. Then the second defensive pair is Synergy veteran Shea Weber, 88 overall. He gets a 1 overall bump every month. He's part of the pre-order. Then we have Paul Coffey's bronze icon. He will get a silver icon probably sometime this week, if not next week, the latest. Third liners are going to be Nylander, Sean Couturier, 91 overall fantasy hockey. Then the Sidney Crosby franchise great, 89 overall. Then on the third defensive pair, we have Brant Clark's NHL 2030 card. He's a player that's still in the juniors. I think he's up for the draft this year. Maybe he was just drafted, but he's still in the juniors. Then there's Shea Theodore's Winter National card, 87 overall. Fourth liners are going to be Joe Nieuwendyk, Matt Sundin, Joe Sakic, all bronze icons. They all have silver icon upgrades. Let's see if we recommend getting one of these guys upgraded and which one should go first. Then for the goaltending, we have Thatcher Demko and Ben Bounds. Brian Fiddler is the coach. What this does for Frosty is has Howitzer and Speedster for player synergies activated, then Distributor, Spark, and Swarm activated, and he has a 9 out of 8 out of Swarm. So let's see if we can kind of balance these out a little bit, make a few upgrades here. Frosty's original team will be on the right. The team advice will be on the left. Looking at the first line here, we're going to keep it the exact same. Lafleur, Fisher, Hughes, Murphy, Park. No reason to change them. I actually really like the combination of Murphy and Park. Good size, pretty good speed. Plus Brad Park's part of the no helmet gang, so I always like those guys. Moving on to the second line here. We're going to have Mario Lemieux, going to keep him at the second left wing. Tim Stützle's going to stay there as well, per the request of Frosty. Personally, I would sell him because he's still worth a lot of coins, but I understand why you'd want to keep him because he is a very, very good card. Defensive pair, we're going to keep Shea Weber and Paul Coffey. We're bringing up the Sean Couturier to the second center. I just think he'll mesh a little bit better with the Stützle and Lemieux than Gretzky is, but if you want to keep Gretzky there, by all means, you can keep Gretzky in the second line. I just wanted to switch it up a little bit on how I would put it in my personal opinion, because I think that Couturier and Lemieux, at least for me personally, they mesh very, very well together. So I figured maybe you want to give them a line combination. I don't know how Gretzky and Lemieux play together. If you like the Gretzky at the second line, keep Gretzky at the second line. The third line is where we start to get some changes here. Alexander Nylander is going to stay the same. The Christmas gift you got for Winter National here, that card will stay there. We're going to upgrade this Joe Nieuwendyk to the silver icon first out of your fourth liners that were icons. I think it's the best play. He has nasty faceoffs, as will pop up here, at 96 faceoffs. Great third line center, can kill penalties, has really good speed, shot, and everything when he gets to the silver icon. I've talked about this card before, how he's very, very good. There's a reason why he's about $500,000 on the PlayStation market for the silver icon, and you can't find the bronze icon anywhere because he's a very, very good card when upgraded to silver with supreme synergies with that 2 spark. Then I'm going to bring in Rupee Hintz here and take out the franchise great Sidney Crosby. We're going to sell Sidney Crosby and bring in the Rupee Hintz. We can compare them side by side. I personally prefer Hintz over Crosby for a few different reasons. One of them is Hintz's shot is way better. You're looking for a guy on this line to maybe score goals a little bit better. On top of not using Crosby at center, to me, he's not foolish, but I think you're wasting Crosby if he's not playing center with the 89 faceoffs. On the right wing, that's fine. He also seems to have an innate way to be in the right spot, Crosby does. However, the Hintz has the same defensive awareness as Crosby, better stick checking, better shot blocking, and better discipline. So he's overall better checking category. He hits better on defense. The hands are a little bit of the downside for Hintz compared to Crosby, but Hintz is an overall better skater than Crosby. His acceleration's a little bit lower, but 90 acceleration is more than enough. I don't even have Spark on the Hintz that I've been using. He's only 86 acceleration. He seems to have really good jump. He also plays at a 92.85 adjusted overall, where Crosby's only playing at a 90.95. I mean, I get that Crosby's 1 overall lower than Hintz, but you're getting almost 1.5 overall more because of adding this speedster and still being able to keep Swarm activated. Plus, his wrist shot's just absolutely filthy. I really recommend this Hintz. I know I talk about him quite a bit, but I really do think he's an excellent card. Then on the third defensive pair, we're going to get rid of Brandt Clark, and we're going to bring in Kevin Shattenkirk. I think this Shattenkirk's very well priced at about 60 to 80,000 coins, depending on what time of the market you go on and kind of who has their cards up. It also allows you to activate Gladiator with this Nieuwendyk, which obviously makes a Nieuwendyk better, but it also makes a Shattenkirk better. He has a very good skating, 92 acceleration, 95 agility, 91 speed, a good shot at 93 slapshot power. 84 slapshot accuracy is not the most accurate, but I think we can deal with it. He's definitely a better defenseman than Brandt Clark. That is for sure. I believe Clark is probably a little bit cheaper than the Shattenkirk is. You might be able to swap them out for about the same price, though. Maybe taking an extra 15K to get Shattenkirk, but I think it's worth the upgrade. Defensively, he's just way better than Clark is. He skates better than he does. Overall, just a better card. As you can see, an 86.8 adjusted. This is a 90.7, so you're almost getting like an older master set player out of Shattenkirk compared to this Brandt Clark. We're going to keep Shea Theodore. I'm not a huge fan of this card, but he is worth a lot of coins, and his attributes are actually very good at 93 speed, 90 acceleration because of the speedster. I just don't like how inaccurate his shot is. It's kind of like having him and Shattenkirk on the same defensive pair. They're going to be a little bit wild with the shot, but that's okay. Put some guys in front of the net, maybe take some D-to-D one-timers here and shoot them low rather than trying to snipe corners and try to get deflections in front of the net rather than trying to score goals with these defensemen. I think they'll be very good for that because their shots are hard. On the fourth line, we bump Gretzky all the way down to the fourth line. Like I said, if you want to keep Nieuwendyk on the fourth line, that's fine. He just has better faceoffs than Gretzky, so I figured maybe you should get in the rotation a little bit more. We'll move Matt Sundin over to the left wing and have Joe Sakic here on the right wing. Now, I know you said you had like a Mike Gartner. You had some other guys on the bench that are bronze icons. You can play around with this fourth line as long as you keep kind of the synergies they have. You can also bring in Mike Gartner and put him on the left wing and pull Gretzky out completely. I wouldn't do that because Gretzky's better than the Mike Gartner is. But if you want to do that, you can do that. We're going to keep Demko and Bounds the same. Fiddler as the coach. We have Gladiator activated with Howitzer and Speedster. The Speedster is at 5 Speedster now, so you have a little bit more flexibility with that Speedster. On top of that, we still have the 3 team synergies. Bringing in Hintz with that Speedster and getting rid of the Crosby gives you a little bit more flexibility with the Shea Theodore when you eventually want to get rid of him. I'm assuming at some point you're going to want to. And overall, I think this is just some nice upgrades on the third line and on your defense in the third defensive pair here to just make your team overall more solid. You already had a very good team. And I think it really shows and highlights how good Shattenkirk is and that you need to get this Joe Nieuwendyk upgraded, I think, first out of your guys that are bronze icons. Now, you could get the Joe Sakic upgraded first or the Matt Sundin and rework some other things. I just think the Nieuwendyk is a little bit better when it comes to having to take 1 icon collectible less than Sundin and 2 less than Sakic, that you can get the Nieuwendyk done a little bit sooner, and he's an excellent card, especially with the Shattenkirk, because you're getting that player synergy activated as well. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this team review. If you have any other problems, concerns, questions, you can always direct message me on Discord. I think we kind of talked about it a little bit, that I told you that with all your bronze icons on the bench, to kind of figure out which ones you want to play with and upgrade those to silver players, and then figure out how they fit in your lineup. Because if you have all those bronze icons, it's really just a matter of getting the silver icons and selling some of these guys that are sellable on your team to get coins for just whenever Lemieux can get upgraded, Gretzky, Lafleur, some of these bigger names, because obviously you're going to upgrade those guys. The next team we're going to go over is Hockeyonsale. And for his team, he has Howitzer, Speedster, Light the Lamp, Shutdown, as well as Distributor and Swarm for his synergies. Looking on the first line, we have Lafleur, Gretzky, Morenz, all bronze icons. The John Carlson team of the week, 91 overall, with Ryan McDonough team of the week, 87 overall. I will say that all icons are untradeable, as well as the Stamkos and Carlson. I believe he had told me McDavid is untradeable, but I'm not sure if McDavid makes it into the team advice build or not. We'll see here in a second. On the second line, he has 92 primetime Stamkos, 90 silver icon Sittler, then the base McDavid 87, team of the week Shea Weber 88, then the primetime Alec Martinez from the Vegas Golden Knights, the former LA King, moving over to his rivals. Then we have Mario Lemieux, bronze icon, 88 overall, team of the week, Ansi Kopitar. Silver icon, Yvonne Cornwallier. Dougie Hamilton, team of the week, 85 overall. Charlie Huddy from when he played for the Los Angeles Kings. He kind of bumped all over the league, but he was also on some of those Edmonton Oilers dynasty teams, but it's his 94 flashback. Then we have Gustav Nyquist, 87 overall, blockbusters card. The franchise great Claude Giroux, highly recommend this card. I think he's one of the most underrated 87 overall cards. He just plays very, very well. Then we have Peyton Krebs, NHL 2030, has 2 Swarm. Connor Hellebuck for Primetime card, 87 overall. Then Primetime Lassie Lettinen that has Distributor and Swarm. Same as the Hellebuck, actually. Then Fiddler has 3 Distributor to kind of wrap it up to give you the synergies we already talked about. Let's look at his team advice. So on my team advice, I marked the untradables that he told me about, mostly because he said he was having some trouble with it, so I just marked them. That way you guys kind of know, and it helped me do this review and set up the team a little bit easier. First line is going to stay the exact same. Lafleur, Gretzky, Morenz, Carlson, McDonough. No point on changing it. I think it's a pretty good line, so we'll just keep it the exact same. Then on the second line, what we're going to do here. Steven Stamkos, untradeable, we're going to keep him. Daryl Sittler, obviously, he's one of the better silver icons. I've talked about it before. We're going to bring in this Taylor Hall that has 1 point for Swarm to get your Swarm to stay at 8 while we move around some of the team. It does involve getting rid of the Connor McDavid. I believe he said he was untradeable. If he's untradeable, you'll probably just have to eat the cost of the Connor McDavid, or we can kind of figure out maybe how to keep him in the lineup. If you're comparing this Taylor Hall to this Connor McDavid, they're about the same speed. Except this Taylor Hall's just a little bit of a bigger body, a little bit heavier. He seems to skate a little bit heavier than McDavid, in my opinion. On top of that, he has pretty much the exact same skating. His agility is going to be 1 point less than McDavid, but he has better endurance. He has better balance. His shot is significantly better than McDavid's. It's in the low 90s all across the board, where McDavid doesn't have as good of a slap shot by any means, and his wrist shot power is only 85. The hands are about the same, as you can see. The passing is 1 lower for the Taylor Hall, which is unfortunate. The body checking strength is better than the McDavid. Then you're looking at the checking category. The 90 defensive awareness, 91 stick checking, 83 discipline. It's about the same as McDavid. He has better shot blocking. The thing is this Taylor Hall has Swarm, and he's a very good price at like $95K. And he's a card that you can keep in your lineup for a while. He's a guy for me that has had about 1.5 points per game between squad battles and rivals. And that's just significant. He's a good card. He's a fast skater, bigger bodied. He plays really hard. He seems to be in the right positions. I'm not saying McDavid isn't that. I'm just saying for how we rebuilt this team you're going to need that Swarm with the Taylor Hall. And I think he's a good replacement for McDavid. In the second defensive pair here, we've made a complete swap. We're going to take out this Shea Weber and Alec Martinez, bring in Tyler Myers and Torrey Krug. This Tyler Myers came out in the most recent blockbusters, well, actually 2 blockbusters ago. And I think overall this card for an 86 will play at 88 adjusted overall with the synergies of Shutdown, Distributor, and Swarm. He gets at the 89 speed, and he's 6'8". So he's pretty much the right-handed version of Zdeno Chara in the last couple of games when he had like a Halloween card or anything like that. Very big body. His shot's inaccurate, but the rest of his attributes are very good. Do I think he's better than Shea Weber per se? Not necessarily, but the Shea Weber does have a value that you can sell him for, and I would sell him, and the Tyler Myers is cheaper than the Shea Weber is. Then for the Alec Martinez and Torrey Krug, we can do a straight comparison. They actually have the same synergies, and this Torrey Krug just skates a heck of a lot better than Alec Martinez, has a way better shot. He has better checking attributes, which to me are a little bit more important than the defensive attribute of body checking. I'll give up 7 body checking to have better defensive awareness and stick checking, as well as he just has a better breakout, better deking, offensive awareness. I think he pairs a lot better with a bigger body defenseman like the Tyler Myers. You could keep the Shea Weber here if you wanted to, because you do have 5 shutdown. I just want to give you another option to the Tyler Myers to kind of be able to pick up the Torrey Krug to replace the Alex Martinez, because I think it's important that you have a better skating defenseman, because speed is so important in this game. For the third line forwards, we have Lemieux, bring Giroux up to the third line, keep Cornwallier there, then have Dougie Hamilton the same. Then we're going to trade out Grzelcyk for Huddy. This card has 2 howitzer. That's the biggest reason we have him here, but another good skater, 92 speed, 98 agility with 89 acceleration, has a good shot, good defensive awareness and stick checking. pretty decent card for a good price. So for your fourth liners, we have Nyquist. We're going to bring in Bobby Clark. I believe he's still about 35 to 50K. I haven't checked too recently, but I think that's what his price still is. Either way, he's still good value for what you're getting out of him with the Howitzer and Swarm. On top of, you can upgrade him to the silver icon at some point in time. So we're going to sell this Ansi Kopitar. Then we're going to bring in Elias Pettersson here for this Peyton Krebs. I believe you can swap them out for almost the same price, but I do think this Pettersson is significantly better than this Krebs, even though they have about the same adjusted overall. And the reason I'm saying that is this Pettersson is bigger than the Krebs at 6'2", so he's a little bit bigger body, but he has a significantly better shot than Krebs does. Where Krebs beats up on this, Pettersson is in the body checking, the strength, aggression, durability, and fighting skill is a huge point upgrade to get this adjusted overall a little bit higher. Whereas you can see Pettersson's a little bit faster skating, he has way better endurance. He has less balance, which is unfortunate, but he has more agility, shots way better, his hands are better, and then his stick checking and defensive awareness is a little bit less than the stick checking, but a little bit more in the defensive awareness. The shot block is a little bit less than Krebs, but I do think that this Pettersson is a better card than Krebs is, even though you're giving up the synergies here with the Swarm. I just think that the Pettersson skating and his shot is just absolutely filthy in this game. He's one of those guys, kind of like Sidney Crosby, that every time he takes a clapper in the high slot, over on the dot or such, he kind of gets down to one knee and he just seems to lift the puck really, really well. And that's from playing with him last year, this year. It seems like he has really good animations for his slap shot on one-timers. Goaltending can say the exact same with Hellebuck and Lettinen. Fiddler can say as your coach. So what that's going to do for you, it's going to keep the same exact player synergies of Howitzer, Speedster, Light the Lamp, and Shutdown. The Distributor and Swarm say the exact same. I really just think that this team, obviously you have a lot of guys you can upgrade to silver icons here, and then you have Clark that we bring in that you can upgrade to a silver icon, as well as Lemieux eventually. And what this does here is it doesn't make you as reliant on somebody like Peyton Krebs. It doesn't allow for as much flexibility if you're stuck on this Peyton Krebs because he has two Swarm, where he kind of has to be on your fourth line and you can't get away from him. On top of what we did here too is solidify the defense a little bit. I think these three guys are better than these three guys. If you want to keep the Shea Weber, like I said, you can. But this Tyler Meyer allows you to kind of start working towards balance with the Grzelcyk, because they do have balance. With the Cournoyer has balance as well for 2 points, so it actually has you up to 4 balance. I'm not saying you're going to necessarily work on it, but when you start to upgrade Morenz and you upgrade Lafleur, you get some more flexibility to bump out some of these guys. You can bring in guys that have balance to replace like the Hall, the Giroux, the Nyquist. Guys, whenever you're upgrading to these silver icons that have the Distributor and Swarm, you already kind of know where you're going with the balance because you have Cournoyer, you'll have Grzelcyk and Myers. But you can get in maybe Niedermeyer and Chelios for balance and upgrade them to their silver eventually too later in the game. I think this is the way to go. I think it gives you some fixes for right now, as well as some ideas of, hey, I need to invest in these guys and make them silver icons for the future. Let me know in the comments what you think about your review. Just like anybody else, you can always message me on Discord in private to have a discussion back and forth about any other changes throughout the life of the game that you would like to see in your team, or any type of advice that you do need. I'd be more than happy to help. The last team we'll be going over in this video is GHAM74. So his team has Howitzer, Speedster, Wingman, and Distributor for his synergies. Let's see if we can get a second team synergy activated without breaking the bank too much, because he is a free-to-play player, as well as he does have some guys that are untradeable that he would prefer not to get rid of just because he doesn't have the most coins. So for the first line, we have Lafleur, Giroux, and Van Riemsdyk. Then we have Ristolainen and Hedman as the first line with the first defensive pair. In the second line, we have Lemieux, bronze icon, Couturier, 87 overall fantasy hockey card, Mikko Rantanen's primetime 88, Cal Foote, NHL 2030, 86 overall, Philip Broberg's fantasy hockey card from the World Juniors. Then we have Kirby Doc, also from the World Juniors, 88 overall. Then the 86 overall, Pajot, Jonathan Huberdeau's base card at 85 overall, 84 Jonas Halas, Oli Mata's primetime 83. For the fourth line, we have Hut Fantasy Hockey, 86 overall Brock Besser, the Joe Nieuwendyk bronze icon, Anton Lundell from the World Juniors, then Pekka Rinne's Synergy veteran card, 88 overall, that gets that monthly 1 overall boost, and Benjamin Gaudreau for a goaltender plug, and Brian Fiddler as his coach, which will give you the aforementioned synergies. The first line is going to have a bit of a change here. We have Lafleur staying at the first left wing. Then we're going to bring up the Sean Couturier all the way from second line center to first line center, but we need to upgrade him to at least 90 overall to get the 2 spark. We're going to keep James Van Riemsdyk on the right wing here. Ristolainen and Hedman can be your first defensive pair. For the second line here, we have Lemieux. Upgrade this Joe Nieuwendyk to the silver icon. Nyquist is going to come in here on the right wing on the second line. The biggest reason we're bringing this Nyquist, and I probably should have went over him a little bit on the last team, is this card is very good for the price. 95 acceleration, 94 agility, 91 speed whenever you have Spark and Distributor. His shot is 80 across the board with 89 wrist shot accuracy. Pretty decent body checking for Nyquist. Decent hands, and then he has 86 defensive awareness with 86 stick checking. So those are pretty good numbers. Second defensive pair, we have Cal Foote. Get rid of Broberg, bring in Grzelcyk. We went over Grzelcyk in the last team, so I don't think I need to go over him again. But he is a better option than this Broberg, especially if you're not going to activate the Gladiator on Broberg, which we aren't in this situation. Although you do have 3 Gladiator if you upgrade to Nieuwendyk, because you had 2 Gladiator from the Broberg and Nieuwendyk before. So maybe you might want to keep Broberg and find another guy with Gladiator. But we didn't do that here because I think in the third defensive pair you'll see getting Magician activated for James Van Riemsdyk makes him even a better card. And we're going to go over how good of a budget card that James Van Riemsdyk is at the end of this video. On the third line here we have Oliver Bjorkstrand. Having a terrible year in fantasy hockey, but he is nasty for this card. 96 speed, 93 acceleration, 97 agility. He's an 87 overall. He plays at an 89.35 adjusted overall with his 2 player synergies and distributor and spark. That is crazy, the type of bump that he gets with synergies because of the synergies that he does have. Making his wrist shot power 94, 87 wrist shot accuracy, good body checking, average, above average checking category, but his hands are pretty nasty too. Very good budget card. Then at center, we're going to have the Giroux all the way down at the third line because we upgrade to Couturier and Nieuwendyk. Bring in John LeClair. He's one of my favorites lately because he's such a good value for what you're getting. He has the 2 speedster. He has spark. He's a big body with a hard shot. For the third defensive pair here, we're going to get rid of Holas and Mata, and we're going to bring in Moser and Dougie Hamilton. A lot of times I take Dougie Hamilton out of people's teams, but he's better than this Halas, and you need somebody that's on a budget that you can pretty much trade out for the same price. He doesn't skate quite as well with the speed, but he has better acceleration with this build. He has better endurance. The shot's better, and he's just a bigger bodied at 6'6". I think he'll be a better option than this Halas in general. I also absolutely do not like this card. I know a lot of people are using him as like a budget card for having distributor, but I don't like him at all. And then we're going to bring in Moser compared to the Mata, and I don't even think this is a close comparison, as the overalls are 3 difference. But this is another guy. This Moser plays at 88.1 with his synergies activated because you get Magician, which also gives Van Riemsdyk Magician. That's one of the biggest reasons we brought in Moser, because I actually don't think this Mata is that bad of a card for an 83 overall. For the fourth line here, we have Besser. Pajot's going to come down from the third line to the fourth line. Then we're going to bring in Natanen and get rid of this Lundell. Comparing Lundell and Natanen side by side, Natanen gets up to an 88.55. Lundell gets up to an 86.6, and he's wearing an 86 on his card. So it's not like you get a huge boost. It's just the speed up to 90. But the Natanen gets you 90 speed. He has a harder shot than this Lundell does, but they're actually relatively close to the same card, other than this Natanen just has better defense and better checking, or the same checking. So really, the Natanen, you're just getting better body checking, a little bit better skating, and a harder shot. It's not a huge upgrade, but Natanen, for the synergies here, we're going to bring him in because we need distributor. Then we're going to have Pekka Rinne and Anton Khudobin. We're going to get rid of this Gaudreau. You need a goaltender with 2 spark. It can be Khudobin. It could be Ben Bounds. It could be any of the guys that have 2 spark right now. I think there's another card that just came out in the blockbusters that I can't think of off the top of my head. But you need somebody with 2 spark here. Fiddler will be your coach. And by doing this, we activate spark as well as Magician, Speedster, and Howitzer. We do lose Wingman, but there's not a lot of guys with Wingman to have that need other than the Giroux still on this team. But honestly, for the Giroux, I'll show you the only thing you're losing with that Wingman is with the adjusted overall, you're actually better off with this team build because you have spark activated compared to what you had before. So you shouldn't notice a difference. but 93 acceleration compared to 92 acceleration. So side by side, you're actually not going to notice too much of a difference, if at all, between him having wingman on your current build and him having spark on this build. I think this is just, it's pretty much the same swap, so I wasn't too worried about bringing in the wingman and like kind of forcing it. But what I will say with Magician, this James Van Riemsdyk is labeled as an 87. He plays at 89.8 with the team synergies activated and the player synergies. Ridiculous card. Compared to over here, you're looking at 88.6. So we got him 1.2 overall higher by just activating Magician and Spark. Pretty crazy how much Magician and Spark fill out some of this card's weaknesses. But I think he's going to be pretty filthy. 91 speed, 89 acceleration, 95 agility. His shot is very nice and hard. Good body checking and deking. I always like playing with JVR. I don't know if you're a Flyers fan with these two guys at the top of the lineup or not. On top of you had the Giroux before. I don't know if you're a Flyers fan, but hey, if you already brought in Leclerc. If you're not, I mean, good, because I don't like the Flyers. I'm a big Penguins fan here. But hey, either way, I think this is the team to build. I think this is the way to kind of build your team going forward with the guys that you do have that are untradeable. I hope it helps, GHAM. You let me know, and just message me in private if you need any more help, or comment down below. I'll more than answer any of your questions. That's going to wrap up the team advice for these 3 subscribers. I really hope it helped their teams out. I think we improved them, added a team synergy on one of the 3 teams. We kind of improved some positions in defense as well as some bottom 6 forwards on the other 2 teams. If you want to have your team reviewed by me and get some team advice, it's 3 easy steps. First, subscribe to the channel, then join the Discord that's in the description down below. Then drop your link into the proper channel that says Team Advice URL channel. Drop it in there, and I will add you to the running order or the queue of people that are waiting to get their team advice. I just go straight down the order. It's not like a random draft. You won't be in there forever. I'm progressively working through the queue as quickly as I can, but that's the way to go about it. And the only requirement is to subscribe, which is 100% free. As always, guys, I appreciate all the support that you've given me on the channel. We've hit 1,000 subscribers. That's just crazy to me, and I appreciate that so very much. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video, though, so we can continue to grow the channel even further. You guys have a great day, and be safe.